multiple explosive winter systems targeting the American heartland. The first invasion hits this weekend. The second invasion arrives next Tuesday. Question: what's the long-term forecast? Extended range models show this pattern persisting through the winter solstice on December 21st. We're experiencing what typically happens in February. This suggests the real winter could bring unprecedented extremes never recorded. Meteorologists running out of adjectives to describe the data they're seeing. Historic, extreme, unprecedented. Terms used so often, they're losing meaning. But this genuinely is different. Remember, it's only December 6th. Most winters don't see significant snow until after New Year's Day. We're experiencing late-season conditions 6 weeks ahead of schedule. Like Christmas arriving in October, nature's calendar has been completely disrupted. Here's your immediate survival timeline. Stock up on emergency supplies today. The third invasion is the most dangerous of all. Here's why it's carrying Siberian air masses. Stores will be empty by tomorrow evening. Gas stations already reporting fuel shortages. ATMs running out of cash as panic buying spreads across affected regions. Generator sales up 400% in the last 24 hours. Hardware stores can't keep ice melt in stock. But here's what changes everything about the second wave arriving Tuesday. It's creating what meteorologists call a snow bomb. Instant blizzard conditions with zero visibility. Wind speeds could exceed 60 miles per hour, creating 20-foot snow drifts in open areas. But the most dangerous element is the timing. Peak commute hours Tuesday morning. Millions of people could be trapped in vehicles on impassable highways. Emergency services may not be able to respond for hours due to whiteout conditions. Temperatures could drop to minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit in Minneapolis. This is your final warning to avoid all unnecessary travel starting Sunday night. Work-from-home policies should be implemented immediately by all businesses. School districts must make closure decisions today, not tomorrow morning. Water pipes will freeze when temperatures drop below 10 degrees for extended periods. Let faucets drip continuously. Open cabinet doors under sinks to circulate warm air. Burst pipes cause thousands of dollars in damage within hours of freezing. Know where your main water shutoff valve is located and how to operate it. Carbon monoxide poisoning cases spike during extended power outages from improper heating. Never run generators inside homes, garages, or basements under any circumstances. Keep generators at least 20 feet away from any doors, windows, or vents. Minus 10 degrees in Chicago. Even southern areas like Missouri could see minus 5 degrees. Check smoke detector batteries today. Have flashlights and battery-powered radios ready. Charge all electronic devices to full capacity. Power grids may fail under extreme demand. The third Arctic invasion arrives Friday, and it's the most dangerous of all. Carrying air masses directly from Siberia, temperatures 50 degrees below normal. Wind chills approaching minus 60 degrees across the northern plains. That's cold enough to freeze exposed skin in under 5 minutes. Frostbite becomes inevitable for anyone caught outside without proper protection. Hypothermia can set in within 15 minutes at these extreme temperatures. Car engines won't start. Diesel fuel crystallizes. Natural gas systems may fail completely. This level of cold hasn't been experienced in populated areas since 1936. That's 35 degrees below normal for December. Question: how is this possible? When the Great Plains saw minus 70-degree wind chills for an entire week. Entire cities may shut down for days at a time. The economic disruption will ripple nationwide. Stock markets could tumble from weather-related supply chain collapses. Insurance claims will reach record-breaking levels not seen since Hurricane Katrina. This could be the most expensive weather event in American history. Federal disaster declarations covering 15 states simultaneously for the first time ever. Military assistance may be needed for mass evacuation and emergency supply distribution. The National Weather Service considering the creation of new warning categories. Current terminology simply doesn't capture the magnitude of what's approaching. They're discussing catastrophic winter emergency classifications never used before. The answer involves something called jet stream displacement. It's happening right now. This would trigger federal response protocols reserved for national security threats. Mass casualty plans are being activated at trauma centers across affected regions. Blood banks stockpiling emergency supplies in case transportation becomes impossible. Emergency responders switching entirely to tracked vehicles and helicopter support. Some areas may rely exclusively on snowmobiles for emergency transportation for weeks. The final piece of this catastrophic puzzle is the recovery timeline. With 4 major storms in rapid succession, there's no opportunity for cleanup between events. Snow will accumulate higher and higher, creating impassable barriers. Some neighborhoods won't see snowplows for weeks due to accessibility issues. Residents will become prisoners in their own homes for extended periods. And it's about to create the most chaotic weather pattern in a decade. Mail delivery suspended indefinitely in the hardest-hit areas. Online deliveries facing massive delays and cancellations through January. Christmas presents ordered online may not arrive until Valentine's Day. Retailers already warning customers about shipping disruptions lasting months. If you haven't completed Christmas shopping, today is your last opportunity. Store shelves will be empty by Monday morning as panic buying reaches critical levels. Gas stations will run completely dry as demand surges beyond supply capacity. ATMs will run out of cash when people realize credit cards don't work without power. This is your absolute final warning to prepare for what meteorologists are calling unprecedented. Stock up on everything you need for at least 3 weeks of isolation. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. This same pattern brought the blizzard of 1978. Fill every available container with drinking water before pipes freeze solid. Buy batteries, flashlights, portable chargers, and battery-powered radios today. Get cash from banks while ATMs still function and credit card systems remain operational. Fill all prescriptions immediately and stock up on critical medications. Your survival may literally depend on the decisions you make in the next 12 hours. Don't wait for official emergency declarations. They may come too late to help you. This Arctic invasion is just beginning to unfold across the American heartland. Tomorrow brings exclusive satellite footage of the polar air mass fracturing. Plus, which specific cities face the greatest danger from Tuesday's superfreeze? And how volcanic ash particles are amplifying the cold by reflecting solar radiation. When Ohio saw 37 inches of snow in 24 hours. When Michigan highways became parking lots for days. Don't miss tomorrow's emergency briefing. Your family's safety depends on this information. The next 72 hours will determine how severe this winter catastrophe becomes. Stay prepared, stay informed, and we'll see you tomorrow with critical updates. Remember, this is only the beginning of the most dangerous winter in decades. When heating costs tripled across the Midwest, the economic impact exceeded $30 billion. 4 separate Arctic invasions, snow reaching places that haven't seen it in decades. And that was in 1978 money. Multiply by 5 today. Now let's examine the snowfall projections. Northern Iowa, 8 to 12 inches likely from the first storm alone. Southern Minnesota, 6 to 10 inches expected. Wisconsin, 4 to 8 inches probable. But these numbers pale in comparison to what's coming with waves 2 and 3. Here's what I promised at the 3-minute mark. Computer models show something unprecedented. The jet stream is locking into a position not seen since the 1800s. This creates a highway for Arctic air to flow directly into populated areas. 3 factors are creating perfect storm conditions never recorded in modern history. Factor 1, unprecedented polar vortex strength. Factor 2, abnormal moisture transportation from the Gulf. Factor 3, unusual high-pressure blocking. When these 3 align, meteorological chaos. Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, all in the crosshairs. But here's what the models aren't telling you. The last time we saw this combination was 1888, the children's blizzard that killed 235 people. 400 inches of snow buried the Great Plains. Entire towns disappeared for weeks. Question: how will this affect modern infrastructure? Transportation systems could face total shutdown. Airports may close for days, not hours. Interstate highways could become death traps. School districts are already planning closures, some for the entire week starting December 8th. But there's hope, and it comes from an unexpected source. Ensemble model data shows patterns. 20 different computer models run in scenarios, but 18 of them show the same terrifying outcome. This setup persists through Christmas week, multiple storm cycles targeting the same regions. But here's the cruel twist in this weather story. Each wave brings colder air than the last, like stacking ice cubes in a freezer. Question: what triggers this ancient pattern? This isn't just one storm, it's a pattern, and it's showing unprecedented characteristics. Scientists believe it's connected to solar minimum cycles, ocean temperature fluctuation, and yes, even recent volcanic activity in Iceland injecting particles into the stratosphere. These particles reflect sunlight back to space, cooling the atmosphere by fractions of degrees, enough to tip the balance toward extreme cold. When these forces combine, explosive snow development. Right now, let's examine today's immediate timeline. Storm development begins at 2 p.m. Central Time. Heavy snow rates start in the Dakotas and Minnesota, 2 inches per hour possible. By 6 p.m. tonight, Des Moines will be under 6 inches with rates increasing. 10 p.m. brings the storm to Chicago and Milwaukee. Morning commute Monday will be catastrophic. But here's what makes this setup even more dangerous. It's happening in stages, not all at once. Each Arctic blast reinforces the previous one, building a foundation of permanent cold. 2 feet of snow possible in areas that typically see 3 inches all winter. Tuesday's storm targets the exact same areas, adding 6 to 12 inches on top of weekend totals. Some locations could see 18 inches from the second wave alone. Snow removal crews won't have time to clear between events. Salt supplies already running critically low. Emergency shelters opening in anticipation of power grid failures. Hospitals canceling elective surgeries and preparing for hypothermia cases. The economic impact will be staggering. Billions in lost productivity from transportation shutdown. Supply chains could snap under the pressure. Christmas deliveries facing massive delays. But here's something even more alarming. Long-range models show this pattern persisting through January. We could see storm after storm hitting the same devastated areas. Chicago might break its all-time seasonal snowfall record of 89 inches. But wait, there's an even bigger story developing beneath the surface. Minneapolis could exceed 100 inches for the first time since 1983. That's over 8 feet of snow in a single winter season. Ensuring the National Guard may need to assist with emergency snow removal operations. Some smaller communities could become completely cut off for extended periods. But the most dangerous aspect isn't the snow, it's the temperature plunge that follows each storm. Wind chills could reach minus 40 degrees across the upper Midwest. Exposed skin freezes in less than 10 minutes at these temperatures. Car batteries fail. Diesel fuel turns to gel. Natural gas demand spikes beyond grid capacity. Rolling blackouts may be necessary to prevent total power system collapse. Satellite data shows a massive Arctic dome fracturing across the polar regions. This level of cold hasn't been experienced since the Arctic outbreak of 2019. But that event lasted 4 days. This pattern could persist for 4 weeks. Federal disaster declarations are already being prepared by FEMA officials. Emergency response equipment positioning across potential impact zones. The National Weather Service is considering unprecedented warning classifications. They may issue the first ever extreme winter weather emergency for the continental United States. This would trigger automatic emergency protocols never before used outside of hurricanes. Mass casualty plans activating at hospitals. Blood banks stocking emergency supplies. Emergency responders switching to all-terrain vehicles and snowmobile units. But here's the most shocking revelation. This weather pattern matches paleoclimatic data. Think of it like icebergs breaking off a glacier, except these icebergs are headed for your neighborhood. Computer simulations of atmospheric conditions during the Little Ice Age. 400 years ago, when the Thames River froze solid. When crop failures triggered massive famines. Obviously, we're not entering another ice age, but the atmospheric mechanics are remarkably similar. Jet stream patterns locked in extreme positions. Arctic air flowing freely into temperate zones. Question: what triggers these ancient patterns? Scientists point to solar activity cycles. We're currently in a solar minimum period. Reduced sunspot activity weakens upper atmospheric heating. This allows polar air masses to strengthen and expand beyond normal boundaries. Combined with La Niña cooling in the Pacific and recent volcanic ash in the stratosphere. When these factors align, climate chaos, the kind that shaped human history. Now for the immediate transportation nightmare. Major airlines already canceling flights preemptively. Don't miss what happens at the 3-minute mark, the revelation that changes everything. 10,000 cancellations expected this weekend alone. Chicago O'Hare could shut down completely, stranding 200,000 passengers during peak travel season. Interstate highways becoming death traps. I-80 from Iowa to Ohio could be impassable for 72 hours. Emergency responders positioning rescue equipment along major corridors. State patrol units switching to winter emergency protocols immediately. This isn't just weather. It's a natural disaster unfolding in slow motion. FEMA activating emergency response protocols. Warming centers opening across the Midwest. Red Cross mobilizing disaster relief teams from southern states. But resources are already stretched thin from recent hurricane recovery efforts. Adding Arctic disaster response could overwhelm emergency management systems nationwide.